We are a week out from opening day, and a week out from right now, Sam will be in about 9 minutes or so hitting the airwaves to get us ready for Padres baseball in the first pregame show of 2026. So do you want to mention that Sam's coverage is brought to you by David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. He joins us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not big bank banking. It's better. All right. After all that, we're ready to talk with Sam. Sam, really, I got a week away. The guy, you'll be on the airwaves talking Padres baseball, getting the pregame show going. I'm sure you're excited for it.
Yeah, it's hard to believe we're a week away. I'm kind of in the midst of my to-do list opening day. Got my scorebook. Well, it's being worked on. It's not completed yet at a print shop. I got that done yesterday. Got an oil change this morning. I was working on my taxes a little bit earlier. So we've got a big to-do list, both Padres and station-related and beyond, before the action begins a week from today. But I'm out of here on Monday. So a couple of days, likely a workout on Wednesday at Petco Park. And you're right, in exactly a week and 8 minutes, I'll be on the air with the first pregame coverage of 2026, which is exciting.
I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, you were complaining about the weather being incredibly hot out there in Arizona. How cold is your AC right now? You're wearing a hoodie inside. Look at the background. He's got all of the blinds are closed. He is trying to lock himself in an igloo right now in Arizona.
Well, in here it's nice and cool. I have, in fact, pants on and a T-shirt and a hoodie on. But I'll tell you, I went for my oil change really early this morning. It was at 7 a.m., so it wasn't super hot out. And I'm a guy that I anticipate cold situations. I don't like being cold. I really don't. I'd probably prefer to be hot than cold in a room, especially like air conditioning scenario. So I kind of figured that inside the dealership when I was getting my oil change that it could be a little cold in there. I was anticipating that. So I actually wore exactly what I'm wearing right now with long sleeves and pants on. But I wasn't outside for long. So yeah, here inside, I'm very much a covered up guy inside my house. I really am. In fact, one fun fact about me that I don't think I've ever said publicly on the air,
all right,
is that I'm a big footwear guy. I do not like walking around the house barefoot, not really even in my socks. I have either slippers or Crocs that I'll wear inside. I'm a big footwear guy inside. I have specific Crocs that do not leave the house.
All right, so you're kind of like a mix of like the people that always like. There's people that say take your shoes off, like no shoes, no outside shoes in the house. You're a mix of both. You just have the indoor shoes on.
Yes,
that's a good call. That's
those shoes. Those shoes do not hit the outside world. If I have to go outside to take the garbage out, I take off the Crocs and I put on a different.
You got to put on the outside
shoes, or sandals, or whatever.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sam's feet, not what I had on my show bingo card, according to Go Aztecs in the Twitch chat. All right. Frank and I just wrapped, aside from being distracted by March Madness and then trying to host a talk show while my alma mater was playing basketball at the exact same time, which I highly suggest you don't do ever. It's not very fun. Frogs won, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. But in the last segment, we talked about the bullpen because, Bradley Rodriguez is really forcing the question right now about the team. Now, how Frank and I kind of see it, I think it all depends on who's starting on the injured list and who's healthy to start the regular season. Because if Jason Adam and Yuki Matsui, just hypothetically, are both on the roster, that leaves one open spot for the bullpen. Ron Marinaccio had a pretty good WBC. He's the guy that's out of options. I could see him making the team. Yuki Matsui can't, go to start the year. Maybe you go with the left-hander and Kyle Hart. But then, Jason Adams starts the injured list. Bradley Rodriguez is right there. Not to say talent-wise and what he has done couldn't make this team outright, but from a numbers game, that's how much better he has to be. But when talking about this bullpen, Sam, I'm looking just in the future. There are a lot of young, controllable, fireball pitchers that have great stuff that are locked into this team for a long time. This bullpen, not just this year, but with the emergence of Bradley Rodriguez the last couple of years and David Morgan, this is a bullpen that could be one of the best in baseball for years to come.
Yeah, it's really the one part of the roster and I suppose the greater system where you do feel like there's a lot of immediate depth. You're absolutely right. And I think it brings you to a couple of things. It brings you to the idea that you can keep on finding these guys and even if look, they're going to have to deal. I think you mentioned it right before the break. They're going to have to deal with a guy like Adrian Morejon in free agency very, very soon. Could it make it a little easier to let him go if you feel like you have guys that are ready to step into his place? There's such a long way from that. I think that's a totally different conversation for another time. But you're right. As far as the team, and I think the upper level depth, certainly that's the part of the system and the 40-man where there are too many names for too few spots. I mean, Ron Marinaccio looked great in the WBC, is somebody that's had success at the major league level with the Yankees, and I think on a lot of teams, he would probably be pretty close to a lock for a bullpen. I don't think he's a lock. I do think, and I do want to dive into the Adam and Matsui part of it because I think it's a big part of your point here. I do think Ron Marinaccio has a really good shot to make this team considering he's out of options. If you assume that Adam and Matsui are not making the opening day roster, my prediction, I could be wrong, but my inclination right now is that those two guys are not going to be on the opening day roster. And I say that because you just start looking at the schedule and where they are. I mean, Jason Adam has not pitched yet in a Cactus League game. Now, he's doing great. He's throwing the ball well. He feels great. Everything has gone according to plan for Jason Adam. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more Cactus League games left, and Jason Adam has not appeared in a Cactus League game yet. So are you telling me that in a week he's going to be in the Padres bullpen? Seems far-fetched to me. And that's not to say that he has not done everything in his power to get back. And I think if you were to ask him and you gave him the decision, he probably would say, yeah, I'm good to go. Let's get in a couple of games here in the next few days. I'll be good to go. I just think they really wanted to slow play Jason Adam. The team wanted to do that. I think rightfully so. A, he's a really important reliever. B, he's coming off an injury where you have to be fully back and ready to cut and move and change direction. And also, Braden, to the greater point of this whole answer, it's the part of the team where you can afford to slow play it. You don't need Jason Adam on opening day and in the first week or two of the season. Your bullpen with those arms there will be fine. And Matsui, again, same thing. I mean, he has not appeared in a Cactus League game, since the adductor strain. So to me, I would be really surprised at this point if either of those guys are on the opening day roster, just based on the time left in spring training and what they've done so far. Not that they're going to be that far behind, but to your point, it opens up a lot of possibilities because all of a sudden you have 3 open bullpen spots where if those guys were healthy, you would have had one. And I think you mentioned the names. Kyle Hart, I think, is a real candidate. I think they like him a lot. I think he's somebody who could be kind of a long man, also get lefties out. And, if they get creative with the back end of the rotation, could certainly be a bulk guy after you have an opener. I think he lines up kind of perfectly in that role. Bradley Rodriguez is going to be a big part of this bullpen, whether he's on the opening day roster or not when it's all said and done this year in all likelihood. And, beyond that, yeah, there are other names you can Marinaccio is certainly another one that you can kind of put in the conversation as well. So I know that's a long answer, kind of windy answer to the whole question about the bullpen, but I do think they are very, very well prepared for a time without Adam, for a time without Matsui, and the silver lining would be, hey, you can kind of kick the can down the road of a guy like a Marinaccio of having to figure out what you're going to do with a guy out of options and see what happens from there.
Well, it's a long answer because there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, right? I mean, there's a lot. I think there's just a lot of
tentacles. Yeah, a lot of tentacles to that whole equation,
and which leads to the starting rotation. Right now, the starting rotation is starting to seem a little bit more clear now because you do have the answers of, Joe Musgrove's not going to start the season on the roster. He's going to be on the injured list, right? So that kind of opens up the door for Walker Buehler and Germán Márquez. But I think we all thought Walker Buehler had pitched well enough to make the team anyway. So now it's instead of the competition of Walker versus Germán for the final spot, it is now Germán versus whoever is left, which is Matt Waldron. But as you've talked about last week, Matt Waldron, even though he looked really good in his life, he's not built up enough to be ready to go. So he's probably going to start on the injured list. Then you're talking about a guy like JP Sears, who's been really up and down during spring training and shown signs of a greatness, and then signs of like, I can't believe the Padres traded for this guy. I mean, that's how up and down he has been. But now you look at Germán Márquez from the last start, and I want to bring up something that Ben talked about, and I totally believe this, and maybe you disagree, maybe you agree, but Ben on the morning show talked about this. He believes that if the Padres and Ruben Niebla think that they can get the most out of Germán Márquez, he's going to make the team, and he's going to be a part of this organization. And I think so far you've seen that, because just with simple adjustments after the bad outing that he had, he looked a lot more sharp in the outing that we were actually having a conversation during most of said outing. Yes, he gave up a couple of home runs, but I think Germán Márquez is here to stay. I think he's done enough to make the team, but has he really solidified that last spot? Is the rotation clearer now than, is this one of the more clearer spots now of this organization?
Yeah. To be honest with you, Braden, I think the math is pretty simple at this point, because if not Germán Márquez, then who? And that's not the only reason I say Germán Márquez, but who? JP Sears can start in the minor leagues. You can probably get Tristan McKenzie to start the year in the minor leagues. Matt Waldron, you can start him on the IL to begin the year. I will tell you, they're not going to put Matt Waldron in the bullpen and use him that way. They want him built up as a starter. So that probably would come with an early IL stint, and then either working an extended spring or rehab games, however it looks, to build him up. But if not Germán, then who is that guy after Buehler? And if there's one thing we know about AJ Preller and this front office, not only do they like to trade prospects, we know that, but they do value, and you guys know this, they do value veteran experience. And they signed this guy, Germán Márquez, on a major league deal. He would have to accept an assignment to the minor leagues out of spring training in order to get him there. I'm not sure he's going to do that. To me, he's a guy that you hope that you can work with, and he doesn't need to be a guy that throws 7 scoreless innings every time out. Can give you a chance to win a game out of that quote unquote number 5 starter spot. You don't have a ton of money committed to him, but he is on a major league deal. And again, if not him, are you telling me so instead it's going to be Marco Gonzalez making the team? It's going to be JP Sears making the team? I find it hard to believe at this point, with essentially 2 rotation spots open, that one of them is not going to Germán Márquez, who has experience, who I think they believe they can work with. And fact of the matter is, he's on a major league deal. So I would be surprised if in about a week it's not both Buehler and Márquez on the 26-man opening day roster. Could be wrong about that, but I would say that's how it's shaping up. Certainly, it appears.
Yeah, plus the Bud Black factor as well, as mentioned before. I mean, he's a guy that has gotten to watch this player at a very closely since he came up, with Colorado. So, and I also think him pitching at a different altitude is going to help. And he's already looked a lot better. He's coming back from injury and everything like that. But it's an easy way for them to give an extended tryout. Now, the question of what are they going to do when Griffin Canning and Joe Musgrove come back is you got to kick the can down the road. It's a good problem to have.
Agree. Yeah, totally agree. I mean, you'll worry about that when you have to worry about that. The reality is, look, I don't want to talk out of turn. I don't know how long it's going to take Joe to build back up. The reality is, I think that game against Great Britain was on March 4th. So we're going on 2 weeks now without Joe throwing in a game. So I would think, and again, I have not talked to him directly about this in a little bit, but I would think he's going to have to almost build all the way back up now from kind of square one from an inning standpoint. So look, I think it's fully possible the longer this pause goes on, the longer it's going to take him to get back. And Griffin Canning has always looked like more of a May situation, and he has to get built up and hasn't pitched in a Cactus League game. And while spring training is really long, let's remember it's really long kind of for the pitchers because it takes them that long to build up. So you've got to, I think you're looking at, weeks potentially for those guys. Again, I got to get a little bit more clarity on Joe and how long that's going to take. And by the way, when Joe's ready to go 4 innings, 65 pitches? Could they say, hey, let's not waste these bullets down in the on rehab assignment, rehab assignments. Let's get you in the major league. Sure. That's all just kind of, nuts and bolts stuff of how they want to do it. But to your point, you'll worry about that when you got to worry about that. It would be a very, very, very good problem for the Padres to have if Walker Buehler and Germán Márquez are pitching so well when guys like Musgrove and Canning are ready to come back that they are like, what do we do? Guess what? You figure it out, and It'll be a good problem to have. But for now, I think you're focused on the first few weeks of the season, and I do think that's going to include Buehler, obviously, who, hasn't been like perfect, but certainly has been, I think, a little heads and shoulders above everybody else in just the consistency and some of the high points of what he's done, and I think what the ceiling might be for these candidates. But it's hard to imagine a scenario without Buehler and Marquez right now.
I agree with that. And we talked about this, in the last hour, Sam. I mean, as much competition as we have seen in spring training, the roster is almost starting to solidify, before your eyes of there's not too many really battles left for these last couple of games. And then we get to the bench, right? And now you have and we've talked about this a lot. I just keep thinking it's going to be Ty France instead of Jose Miranda. Now, in the latest report about Jose Miranda in the Union Tribune, he can opt out on June 1st, which gives him a little bit of time where he could be in the minor leagues. It's not totally crazy that the Padres might utilize that to have him start the season in AAA. Mm-hmm. I think this one, again, it's a multi-prong answer, because is Sung-Moon Song going to be on the opening day roster, or is he going to start on the injured list? As you talked about in your last report, I mean, he's got to get built up back to being able to play as well. Right. But as you look at this bench, I see it as Camposano's on the team, one of Sheet/Andujar, Castellanos, whichever one of the three does not play that day. And then I think Bryce Johnson's on this team. And then it's Ty France or Jose Miranda. Mm-hmm. And that's, maybe a Mason McCoy. That's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I really think you're totally spot on. Look, again, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here with my thought on Adam and Matsui and Song. I'll throw into this conversation now too. I don't see it how you're a week away from opening day. He's not yet back in games. And this is a reoccurring thing. I don't see how that's
Let me kind of jump on with that too, just to prove that you're not a downer. The Padres have answers for this where they don't have to rush these guys back.
No,
and they
there's
don't
no
have
reason
to force them in the games.
No reason.
That's part of the competition that they've created to create this situation.
And especially with Song, this is a reoccurring oblique thing. I mean, you bring him back too soon, he pulls that thing again. It's more severe. Obliques could keep you out for a couple months.
Right.
So, I would not rush that. I don't think they are. So yes, I'm like you, operating that there are essentially 2 bench spots, and we've talked about it. To me, I find it very hard to believe Bryce Johnson's not going to be on this team. I'll tell you what, Jace Bowen's giving him a run because he's been so impressive this spring, but you can send Bowen down.
I was going to ask you what the status was with Bowen.
Yeah, they'll start in the minor league. So he's on a minor league deal. You can send him down. Start him in the minor leagues. Probably he'll be up at some point when you have a need. He'll probably be, a guy who's impressed enough to be towards the top of the list. But to me, Bryce Johnson, I think you kind of know what you got at the major league level, and you hope he can hit a little bit too when he's called upon to hit. Although on a lot of days he's really probably not going to be asked to get more than maybe a pinch hit appearance, and on a lot of days he's probably not even going to do that. So I think he's a front runner certainly for that one spot, and then the other spot is, I think, where it's harder to gauge right now. France, Miranda. I'm not going to pull Mason McCoy out of this conversation. I would be focused on those 3, but I'm with you. I think both, and we've talked about it, both Miranda and France have impressed enough to where I would think the Padres are seriously considering getting them on the 40-man and the active roster and having one of these guys make the opening day 26. I think they're defensively versatile, and I think offensively just give you a little bit more punch from an offensive standpoint than does a Mason McCoy.
This is gonna be my last question because I know we're well over a break, but I think this is good insight for.
It's a night game tonight. So,
night game. Well, I just don't need Adam knocking on the door like, hey, we got to get the break, right? So let me ask you this question and just an overall synopsis of spring training. Do you think the competition that the Padres brought in for this spring? Do you think one, they have gotten everything that they needed to get out of the competition, and two, do you think it has led to a roster that is going to be better than what the projections say this team's going to do? Have the Padres improved their stats?
What's their over-under win total? It's like 83 and a half.
83, I think.
84. Something. Yes. I don't pay attention to this.
It was something where they're not going to make the playoffs.
Okay. I think they're going to be good and in contention and right in the playoff picture. I do. I think they will be. I think they will be whatever that number is. Don't quote me. 83 and a half, 84. This is not my forte. I think it's going to be quite a bit above that. I think it will be a similar number to last year. And the reason I say that is the bullpen. I think when this team has a lead, that bullpen's going to be an absolute problem to deal with. I see no scenario where this bullpen is not really, really, really good. The offense, Braden, this team should hit. As long as the big guys do what they're supposed to do, it's a deep, dynamic lineup. It is.
And I like what I've seen out of their approach with Steven Souza Jr.
It's a deep, dynamic lineup with a lot of stars. So if they stay healthy, to me, this team should hit, and hopefully the offensive output is more like 24 than 25, and especially, obviously, from the slug perspective as well. So for those two reasons, I would kind of hammer the over with the Padres as far as and again, this is not my forte, but like as far as beating the projections. To answer your question about the competition, I think bullpen-wise has probably gone about as well as you could have imagined. Like, I think Brad Glay is a great example. Like, Brad Glay has been so good and has looked so good that it's almost like, man, you have 3 spots potentially on this opening day roster, and tell me that guy's not going to be one of them. However, he is a guy that you can easily start in the minors and bring him up at some point. Like, he's going to be up at some point because they think he's that good, and he could possibly be like a high leverage guy by the end of the year when it's all said and done. So I think that's just a good example of how deep the bullpen competition is. The one area, and I think this is kind of what you got to circle right now, a week out from opening day, and as we head towards the opener, the one area I think both competition-wise and just roster-wise that has questions, and a lot of them is obviously the rotation. And I don't need to spell it out to you. I'm sure you've talked about it plenty. But, even at the top, can Nick Pivetta do what he did last year? Can Michael King stay healthy? We know when he's healthy and he's on, he's as good as anybody. Is he going to do that? Hope he does. He's really, really dangerous when he does. Obviously, you have the Joe question. Can Randy take another step forward? I'm not going to, you guys know all this stuff already, but there's a lot of questions there. And then you have the whole question to the back end. And I will just say quickly, competition-wise, I think in a perfect world, would that have gone a little bit better? Probably. Like, you would have liked to see a Marquez come out and be really, really good. A JP Sears come out, really, really impress. A Marco Gonzalez pushed them to make a decision. A Matt Waldron pushed them to make a hard decision. They didn't really get that. That's the one area of competition where never feels like it really got firing based on what guys were doing. So I hope that answered both prongs of the question.
I think it did. Sam, when we see you next, we'll see you at
one more
Park.
thing, and I know you're over here. One more thing for your listeners. Spring breakout game, Saturday night.
That's right.
After the Padres game at the Cubs in Mesa. We'll have that here on the station, 97.3 The Fan, at 6 p.m. on Saturday with a nice radio broadcast featuring the stars of tomorrow in Padres uniforms against the Cubs prospects. With
Sam Levitt on the call. Be a great time. We're looking forward to that. Sam, we'll see you at Petco Park. I'm sure you're itching to get back to San Diego.
I'm ready. I don't even think I'm staying for that last game on Monday. I think Monday morning complex.
Interstate 8. See ya.
Yes.
Heading back home. Sam, appreciate the time, man. We'll talk to you later.
All right, guys. See ya.